ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome from IP, Mr. Bryan. Brad. You all know the gentleman to my right, so we'll briefly skip over him. At this time, I'd like to bring on a young man. As I said, he started as a bodyguard for a fellow named Muhammad Ali, so he started at the top in boxing. Over the years, he's been associated with some of the greatest fighters in the world. Manny Pacquiao, Donovan Razor Ruddock, who was Mike Tyson's nemesis. This will be his 15th promotion where he and Roy Jones have been working together hand in hand, working together as partners. These two gentlemen have set a lot of records in boxing. Without further ado, let me bring up the young man who is the head of Murad Promotions, Mr. Murad Muhammad.
Thank you, Mike. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to represent this event. And Mike is very modest. Mike was a columnist that I always respect because he was the next Dick Young in our business. And he decided to go on to become attorney at law. And when he passed the bar with the request of Howard Cosell, who was his mentor, I said, let me send him an offer he couldn't refuse. And he came working for me as a publicist and an attorney, and then he went on to work for one of my competitors. However, he's on his own, doing his own thing. I asked him to come back. You know, his pen is mighty. They said the ink of a scholar is greater than a warrior that gives his life for a cause just to go to heaven. So you got a mighty pen there, Mike, and we want you to use it. I want to say, with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, nothing can happen without the will of God. And I believe that these athletes put their life on the line. These athletes are born and gifted with something that it's a burning desire that they have to perform in this ring. You saw Joe Frazier in the 14th round begging his trainers to let him come out for the next round against Muhammad Ali. It has nothing to do with money. It has something to do with the sport blood that's inside of them. And they're not going to quit until it all runs out. And so therefore, we represent this fight as he's back. And if I didn't believe he was back, surely I would not have picked the opponent that's going to step in front of him, because this young man, Anthony Hampshire, can fight. But before I get to the two main events, I'd like to ask the men on my dais to come up and to say a few words because they are very significant. I want to give a salute to the commissioner here in New York, because boxing cannot happen without the commissioner's stamp and approval. Even though the fight is not here in New York, we always should respect the commissioner of the state in which we are trying to promote a fight, whether it be live or pay-per-view or TV. So I want to salute the commissioner, Ron Stevens, for being an outstanding commissioner, a boxing man that's been around for a long time. Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden, the most famous name in the world, is a great building, a great asset, an icon, and a cornerstone to the sport of boxing. And if you had not promoted in this garden, don't consider yourself a promoter. And I remember coming here for the first time and promoting Razor Ruddock versus Michael Dokes. We had over 16,000 people here, and Razor Ruddock won with a sensational knockout in the 5th round, and that's what really snapped to prove Razor Ruddock was real. And then we came back once again, and so happened we came in the arena with Roy Jones Jr. when New York had a problem with hepatitis, and the fans felt that boxing had treated them wrong because they was ready to go see a great heavyweight fight that could not happen. So Roy and I decided we would come to New York and keep the fire burning as far as boxing is concerned. And then we returned to the great city of New York and went to Radio City Music Hall, where the Garden, of course you know, controls their own Radio City Music Hall, and it was a sellout crowd. In 2 weeks, we were sold out prior to the fight, and Whitney Houston sung the national anthem, and Redman and Method Man for the first time graced that stage as rappers. And I was hiding behind the curtain because this was Roy's request, thinking that all those Caucasians in that room is not going to like this. But when I peeped behind the curtain and saw them all jumping and dancing in their seat, I walked out with my chest stuck out and said, whoa, I didn't know rapping had crossed over. So it's a sensational fight, and Sports Illustrated gave us a beautiful spread, and we're down in the history, the only sport ever in the history of boxing graced the great stage of Radio City Music Hall.